Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking the video out today. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover here today. We're talking about Team Asobi because they are talking up their next project, which sure sounds like it's going to be a full-blown AAA Astrobot game. I think you guys are going to be excited to go over that. We're also talking about Kojima Productions getting ready to attend an event that pertains to VR. So that's something that may be related to PlayStation VR2. We're also talking about Death Stranding apparently being rumored to go to Xbox Game Pass on PC. And we also have an interesting report that claims GTA 6 will in fact have single-player DLC. And we have a few other topics to cover on top of that as well. So before we dive into it, do me a favor, hit the like button to help the video out and show it your support. And if you are new here to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. And while you're at it, consider hitting that join button and becoming a channel member to gain access to some exclusive perks. But we are diving into the first topic. This is reading from Push Square. It says, Astro's Playroom developer Team Asobi is expanding and its next title will be its biggest to date, creative and studio director Nicolas Doucet has said in a new GamesIndustry.biz interview. The team's follow-up project to the wonderful free PS5 pack-in title will be a full-blown commercial title that explores Sony's hardware in new and creative ways. In other words, it's probably going to be a PSVR2 game. Doucet expands, any new technology, we like to take it for a spin. There's the obvious way to use it, which is the first thing we're going to try, and then we're going to try to use it in ways you're not supposed to. That leads us to interesting places. He then explains Team Asobi has hired a number of hobbyists in recent years who have created impressive demos out of new technology. With the pull of being able to pursue your passions, the Japanese developer has almost doubled in size since the launch of Astro's Playroom to 60 employees. Doucet expects to reach 100 people in the future. There's always stuff to do. There's always new projects to begin. We are not limited by any money or time. If we could double the studio just like that, we would find work for everybody. The interview then moves on to how Team Asobi tries to make its games feel like they were made in Japan. We want to make sure that when people play our games that there is a feeling, and you can't quite put your finger on it, that it's made in Japan. Much of this comes down to the game feel, he thinks. I remember talking to the team about character controls, I think it was for Astrobot Rescue Mission, and we were talking about how things didn't feel right, and some of the engineers understood perfectly why it didn't, because they visualized the code, and when the inputs happen, they can see why it might not feel good. It might be because there's a delay there due to an animation being played. So this is the most we've heard from Team Asobi in a while, and it certainly does sound like their next game is going to be a full-blown Astrobot game, and it's going to be for PSVR2, and it's going to take full advantage of it and showcase what the new hardware is capable of, just like they did with Astrobot on the PS5. So yeah, something I'm definitely going to be paying attention to. I would assume that we will see this game revealed this year, possibly at an upcoming PlayStation showcase, because if it is going to be a launch title for PSVR2, at least that's the assumption, then, you know, it'll have to be shown off relatively soon. So let me know what you guys think about that. Next up, we're talking about Kojima Productions once again because Tokyo Game Show VR 2022 has officially been announced, and it's also been revealed that Kojima Productions is one of the developers listed to be partaking in this. And this is kind of unexpected because as far as we are aware, Kojima Productions doesn't have anything announced for VR at this moment in time. Now, Gamescom is coming up, and we just talked about how there's a pretty good chance that Kojima Productions will be there. We do know that Kojima is getting ready to reveal something, some type of trailer for a game. We, don't know what game this is going to be, but he did confirm that he's finishing up work on a trailer. And so when you think of VR, right, you can't help but think that this has something to do with an unannounced PlayStation game from Kojima Productions, because Microsoft, even though they did announce their partnership with Kojima Productions, they don't offer a VR headset, and we know that Sony is, you would assume, getting ready to have their big PlayStation VR2 blowout event or showcase or just something that's really gonna get people excited for it. I mean, the headset internally, from based off of what we know, is scheduled to release in Q1 of 2023. So yeah, the clock is ticking, and I think if Sony can get Kojima Productions, to have something ready to go at the launch of PSVR2, that would be huge. That would be a great sign, and it also makes you wonder, what could it be? I mean, we had the Overdose game leak, which, nobody knows what this game is. We don't know if that's pertaining to Xbox or PlayStation, or, maybe everything's going to be in some weird way interconnected. We had Norman Reedus accidentally out that they're working on Death Stranding 2, so it's hard to say. It's hard to say exactly what this could be, but this is definitely something we want to pay attention to. Kojima Productions is partaking in TGS VR 2022, and Sony has a brand new VR headset that is getting ready to release. At this point, I feel like we just kind of have to put two and two together here. But continuing to talk about Kojima Productions, more specifically focusing on Death Stranding, we have a very unexpected but interesting rumor that apparently Death Stranding may be releasing on Xbox Game Pass for PC. This is coming from Push Square. It says, in another bizarre twist, the Sony-owned Death Stranding looks poised to be added to the PC Game Pass catalog. It wouldn't be the first PlayStation-funded project to join Microsoft's subscription service, actually. It would be the second, following MLB The Show, but it's certainly strange to see the Japanese giant allow more of its games on a rival service. It's especially odd when you consider the Xbox maker recently accused its competitor of paying to keep games off of the popular subscription. Much like the aforementioned MLB The Show games, there are some mitigating circumstances which may help to explain the situation. Indeed, Death Stranding was published by 505 Games, not Sony, on the PC, as it predated the platform holder's push into storefronts like Steam. However, we would be massively surprised if the manufacturer wasn't signing off on this. So, to give you guys some context as to why people are pretty sure that Death Stranding is getting ready to release on Xbox Game Pass for PC, is the official PC Game Pass Twitter profile updated their profile picture and said, sometimes we just like a good landscape picture. And, people very quickly pointed out that that is a landscape straight out of Death Stranding. So I have to admit, this is definitely a surprise. I wasn't expecting to be talking about Death Stranding releasing on a service like Xbox Game Pass for PC. I think it is pretty telling that it's specifically Game Pass for PC and not Xbox Game Pass in general. We do know that 505 Games was the publisher for the PC version of Death Stranding. Sony does own the IP ultimately, but maybe there was some type of an agreement here where Kojima Productions has full control over the IP when it comes to PC distribution, and maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe Sony literally can't do anything about this because it's in their agreement. It's hard to say, but this does very much feel like an MLB The Show situation where Sony was in a situation where they really only had one option. I mean, the other option was they could have just given up the MLB license and not make the game anymore, but that would have made literally zero sense, and I think people would have been very disappointed if Sony did that. And so, in order for them to keep that license and keep making the game, they had no choice but to release it onto Xbox and Game Pass. I feel like this kind of falls into that category because, again, it's very weird to one day be talking about how Microsoft is accusing Sony of paying to block games from entering Game Pass, to then the next day talking about how Death Stranding is apparently going to be on Game Pass on PC. It's very weird, man. You just never really know what to expect these days, but I do wonder, if this is announced, how, Xbox Game Pass PC subscribers, how they're going to feel about it. There was quite a lot of, backlash to the gameplay of Death Stranding, and, some people were very vocal about it, and, I think it would be a good thing if more people could play. I don't think that this would hurt anything, so yeah, we'll see what happens. Very interesting turn of events here. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. Next up, we're talking about the PS4 and how Sony has apparently stopped reporting PS4 shipments. Reading from PlayStation Universe, it says Sony has stopped reporting shipments of PS4 consoles, putting the total of the consoles we can definitely say shipped at 117.2 million units as of March 2022. So this essentially means that the PlayStation 4 is the second best selling home console of all time, behind the PlayStation 2 if I'm not mistaken, and that's a very impressive feat. It's worth noting that when the PS4 first launched, Sony had no idea that it would go on to be this successful. They obviously had a lot of faith in it, but even they were kind of shocked at just how well it was selling and how many people were just going out there and buying this console in mass. And so, yeah, I think everybody will look back at the PS4 generation as one of the greatest console generations, not just for PlayStation, but in general. And I think that everybody, to some extent, can agree on that. And so we'll see if Sony ends up reporting any more units, but if not, we're looking at it settling in at 117.2 million units sold. Moving on from that, I want to just briefly let you know, in case you missed it, that the upcoming game Evil West, which I think a lot of us are looking forward to, has been delayed. It was supposed to come out in September, but the new release date is now scheduled for November 22nd, 2022. And, you know, it's because they just need some more time in order to make sure the game is 100% good to go. And I'm okay with that. You know, if you need a couple more months, and that's the difference between a game launching broken or not, then by all means, take those few months that you need. This is a game I think looks great. Can't wait to play it, but I just wanted to update you guys and let you know in case you missed it. But we're moving to the final topic, which talks about GTA 6, specifically a report that claims it will feature single-player DLC. Reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, it says Rockstar Games may have plans for single-player GTA 6 DLC ahead of the game's launch, according to reliable insider teases. teases, whose recent reports of Red Dead Redemption and GTA 4 remasters were corroborated by numerous publications, wrote on popular fan site GTA forums that Rockstar Games will revert back to how it planned DLC and add-ons before GTA Online's success changed things. Although the online portion of GTA 5 turned out to be a massive success, players have long expressed their displeasure over a lack of single-player DLC, which was in the works at one point before being scrapped. According to teases, Rockstar Games will be working on new cities and missions while GTA 6 is still in development. This way, the studio won't be scrambling to allocate resources to DLC development post-launch. So this is incredibly interesting to me because this is a reliable source, and I think that this is great news. I actually really hope this is true. Anybody who's listened to me on Press X podcast, you know that I've had a lot of concern over GTA 6 considering the success of GTA Online. You know, what's going to happen with the single player, because I've always loved the single player components of Rockstar Games, and I think that that's what they do best, and I don't want to see that kind of be pushed to the side or, you know, not get the attention it deserves. And this sounds great. This actually sounds ideal. I would love to see Rockstar kind of updating the game and offering single player content alongside some of the updates that they're going to bring to GTA Online in the future. So I hope this is true, and I wanted to be sure to report this to you guys because I think a lot of you will be happy to hear this as well. But we do have to take it with a pinch of salt. It's still just a rumor. We'll see if it turns out to be true. That does it for the video though, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Again, if you did, leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.